If this message touches your heart today, I'd love for you to subscribe and join our community so we can continue this journey of faith together. You know, there's a specific kind of silence that happens at 3 in the morning, the kind that feels heavy, like the air itself is pressing against your chest. You're lying there, eyes wide, staring at the ceiling, and for some reason, every mistake you've ever made, every bill that's overdue, and every fear about your children's future starts to circle like a predator. It feels like there's something in the room with you, something you can't see, but you can definitely feel. A weight that tells you that you're not enough, that you're unprotected, and that the world is finally closing in. This year has felt like that for so many of us, hasn't it? It's like the spiritual atmosphere has shifted, and suddenly, the attacks aren't just coming from the outside, they're coming from within, targeting your peace, your sleep, and your very identity. But what if I told you that there is a frequency, an ancient resonance found in Psalm 91 that functions like a high-tech armor for the soul? This isn't just about reading words on a page, it's about activating a supernatural shield that was designed specifically for the hidden traps being set for you right now. Think about the way a bird hides its young under its wings. There's a specific warmth there, a physical barrier between the chick and the storm outside. When the psalmist talks about dwelling in the secret place, he's not talking about a building. He's talking about a mental and spiritual state of being so close to the Creator that your shadows merge. Have you ever felt completely exposed? Maybe you were standing in a crowded room, smiling, laughing at the jokes, but inside, you felt like you were shattering into 1,000 pieces because of a secret you're carrying or a pain you can't name. That exposure is exactly what the fowler's snare feels like. In ancient times, a fowler was someone who trapped birds, not with a loud gun, but with subtle, hidden nets. Today, those snares look like burnout. They look like that one toxic relationship you can't seem to quit, or that sudden, unexplained wave of depression that hits you on a Tuesday afternoon when everything should be fine. You don't see the net until you're already tangled, until your wings are pinned and you're wondering how you got there. I remember talking to a man who had lost everything in a single month: his business, his home, and his sense of purpose. He told me he felt like he was walking through a dark forest where the trees were made of his own failures. He couldn't see a foot in front of him. He was terrified because the attacks weren't physical, they were whispers in his mind telling him he was a burden to his family. This is the terror by night that the psalm speaks of. It's that invisible warfare that targets your mind before it ever touches your circumstances. We spend so much time locking our doors and checking our bank accounts, but how much time do we spend guarding the portals of our hearts? There is a supernatural immunity available to you, but it requires a shift in where you live. You can't just visit the secret place when things get bad, like an emergency room. You have to move your furniture in. You have to dwell there. When you dwell there, the things that used to make your blood run cold start to look different. You start to realize that the arrow that flies by day, those sudden criticisms, the unexpected layoffs, the sharp words from a spouse, they don't have the power to pierce the atmosphere of the Most High. If you can feel that shield beginning to form around your mind right now, if you feel that peace that doesn't make any sense given your current situation, just take a second to type Amen in the comments as a way of claiming that protection over your house today. It's funny how we think we're in control until the phone rings at an odd hour, or we see a look on a doctor's face that we weren't prepared for. In those moments, the pestilence that stalks in darkness becomes very real. It's the things we can't see under a microscope, and the things we can't fix with a paycheck. I've stood at the bedside of people who were facing the absolute end of their strength, and I've seen two very different reactions. I've seen the sheer, unadulterated terror of those who feel they are standing alone, and I've seen the strange, supernatural calm of those who have wrapped themselves in Psalm 91. It's like they're in a bubble. The monitor might be beeping, the news might be grim, but they are abiding under the shadow. A shadow is a place of coolness in a desert. If you've ever been in a place where the sun is beating down so hard, it feels like it's peeling your skin, you know that the moment you step into a shadow, your heart rate drops, your breathing slows. The psalm is telling us that God's presence is that shadow. It is the cooling effect on a heated life. Consider the thousands falling at your side. That's a heavy image. It suggests that you might be the only one left standing in your office, or your friend group, or your family who hasn't succumbed to the bitterness or the cynicism of the age. It's lonely to be the one who still hopes when everyone else has given up. It's exhausting to be the one who keeps praying when the heavens feel like brass. You look to your left and see someone's marriage failing. You look to your right and see someone losing their faith. It feels like a spiritual plague is sweeping through, taking out everyone you know. The hidden attacks of this year aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they are just the slow erosion of your joy. It's the destruction that wastes at noonday. It's that feeling of, is this all there is, midway through your life? But the promise is that it shall not come near you, not because you're better, but because of your proximity. Protection is a function of position. If you are positioned in the center of His will, the enemy has to go through the Almighty to get to you. I want to talk about the angels for a moment, because we often treat them like characters in a fairy tale, but the psalm is very literal here. He shall give His angels charge over you. Imagine a high-level security detail that never sleeps, that doesn't need a break, and that sees the spiritual snipers before they ever pull the trigger. There are moments in your life, think back, where you swerved at just the right second, or you decided not to go to that party, or you felt a random urge to check on your child, and you realized later that something catastrophic was avoided. That wasn't luck. That was the angelic guard keeping your foot from striking a stone. We are walking through a minefield every day, and we don't even realize how many stones have been moved out of our path. There's a specific kind of spiritual attack that tries to make you feel like you're crazy for believing this. It's a whisper that says, you're just a small person in a big cold universe. But the reality is that the king of that universe has commissioned personal guardians for your specific soul. When you start to understand this, your fear begins to transform into discernment. Instead of being afraid of the lion and the cobra, the loud, obvious threats, and the quiet, venomous ones, you start to realize you have been given the authority to trample them. Have you ever had a cobra in your life? Someone who smiled to your face while spreading poison behind your back? Or a lion that roared so loudly in your ears about your debt or your health that you couldn't hear God's voice? The psalm doesn't say the lion and cobra won't be there. It says you will tread upon them. You will walk right over the things that used to paralyze you. That is a massive shift. It's the difference between being a victim of your circumstances and being a victor over them. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow burn. It starts with a single night where you decide to trust the words more than the feeling in your gut. It starts when you're driving to work and you realize that even if the worst-case scenario happens, you are still covered. The weight of this world is designed to make you bow your head, to make you look at the dirt, to make you focus on the pestilence. But the shield of Psalm 91 forces your gaze upward. It reminds you that there is a Most High who sits above the chaos. This year, the hidden attacks are trying to get you to settle for a life of survival. They want you to just make it through. But the supernatural shield isn't just for survival. It's for satisfaction. With long life I will satisfy him. Satisfaction is a rare commodity these days. Most people are successful, but not satisfied. They are busy, but not fulfilled. The shield provides a boundary where the noise of the world stops and the voice of the Spirit begins. In that quiet, you find out who you really are. You find out that you aren't your job title, you aren't your bank balance, and you certainly aren't the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are the one who is known by name by the Creator. I've seen people go through literal fires, losing children, facing terminal diagnoses, and they come out not smelling like smoke. How is that possible? It's because their dwelling wasn't in their physical body or their earthly comfort. Their dwelling was in the secret place. When the foundation of your life is tucked away in the eternal, the shifting sands of the temporal can't topple you. You become a mystery to the people around you. They'll ask, "How are you so calm? Don't you know what's happening in the news? Don't you see the economy?" And you'll be able to smile, not because you're naive, but because you're protected. You see the arrows, you see the snares, but you also see the pinions and the wings. You see the truth that serves as your buckler and shield. Truth is a powerful thing. Most of our spiritual attacks are based on lies. Lies about our worth, lies about our future, lies about God's character. A shield of truth deflects those lies before they can take root in your heart. Think about the nocturnal fears that haunt so many people. The insomnia, the night terrors, the racing heart when the lights go out. These are often the hidden attacks of a spiritual enemy trying to rob you of your rest. Because if you can't rest, you can't fight. If you're exhausted, you're easy prey. Psalm 91 is a lullaby for the soul. It tells you that you don't have to stay awake to watch over yourself, because the one who watches over you never slumbers. You can actually let go. You can drop the shield of your own effort and pick up the shield of His faithfulness. There's a story of a woman who was so gripped by anxiety that she couldn't leave her house. She felt like the very air outside was hostile. She started recording herself reading Psalm 91 and playing it on a loop while she slept. At first it felt like just noise, but slowly the words began to build a structure in her mind. They began to replace the architecture of fear with the architecture of faith. She started to realize that the terror was a bluff. The enemy is like a lion that has lost its teeth, but kept its roar. It can make a lot of noise. It can rattle the windows, but if you are under the shadow, it can't lay a finger on you. The beauty of this shield is that it's portable. It goes with you into the boardroom. It goes with you into the courtroom. It goes with you into the hospital room. It's not something you leave at the church altar on Sunday morning. It's a reality that stays wrapped around you like a second skin. And as we move deeper into this year, with all its unpredictability and its hidden challenges, you're going to need that skin. You're going to need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are not an orphan in this storm. You are a child of the Most High, and your protection is a matter of covenant. It's a legal agreement signed in the Spirit. When the enemy looks at you, he doesn't just see you. He sees the Almighty whose shadow you are standing in. He sees the refuge that you've claimed. He sees the fortress that he cannot scale. Imagine the relief of finally putting down the heavy bags you've been carrying. The bags of self-protection, the bags of what-ifs, the bags of I have to fix this myself. Imagine just stepping into that secret place and closing the door. The noise of the world becomes muffled. The threats become small. You start to see things from a heavenly perspective. From 1,000 feet up, the lions look like ants. From the perspective of eternity, the snares look like cobwebs. This is the exaltation the psalm promises. I will set him on high. It means he will give you a higher perspective. He will lift you above the fray so you can see the way out. You aren't meant to crawl through this year. You are meant to soar above it on those very wings that are currently covering you. Every time you feel a pang of doubt, every time you hear a report that makes your stomach drop, I want you to visualize those pinions. I want you to feel the literal weight of His glory pressing down on you, shielding you from the radiation of the world's fear. The spiritual attacks of this year are designed to make you feel isolated, to make you feel like you are the only one facing this specific battle. But the psalm reminds you that you are part of a lineage of protected ones. You are walking the same path as the saints who survived lions' dens and fiery furnaces. The fire is real, the lions are real, but the protection is more real. It's a supernatural reality that supersedes the physical laws of this world. It's why you can have peace in a war zone and joy in a graveyard. As you sit with these thoughts, notice how the tension in your shoulders is starting to release. That's the shield taking the weight. You were never meant to carry the burden of your own safety. You were meant to be carried. Like a father carries his son over a rocky path, the Father is carrying you. Even when you think you're walking, He's the one holding your hand, making sure your foot doesn't strike that stone. This is a deep, intimate kind of love. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. It's a relationship of mutual devotion. You give him your heart, and he gives you his protection. It's the most lopsided trade in history, and he makes it gladly. Think about the hidden attacks on your family, the division, the misunderstandings, the way words get twisted. These are the snares meant to trip up your household. But when the head of the house dwells in the secret place, that protection spills over the edges. It covers the children. It covers the marriage. It creates a sanctuary where the enemy's frequency just can't tune in. It's like you're living on a different radio station. The world is broadcasting static and fear, but your house is playing the song of the Almighty. You start to notice that the atmosphere in your home changes. People are kinder. Sleep is deeper. The pestilence of anger and resentment starts to dry up because it can't survive in the shadow of the Most High. This is the year where you stop being a victim of the hidden. This is the year where you turn the lights on. Because the shadow of the Almighty isn't a dark place. It's a place of blinding light that is only a shadow to those on the outside. To those on the inside, it is the most vibrant, life-giving light you will ever know. It's the light that shows you the path when everyone else is stumbling. It's the light that reveals the gold in the middle of your trial. You aren't just getting through this year, you are being refined by it. The attacks that were meant to destroy you are actually serving as the stones that you are stepping on to reach a higher place. Every time the enemy tries to snare you and you escape through the truth of Psalm 91, your faith muscle gets stronger. You become more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness because you are no longer afraid. And a person who is no longer afraid is a person who can change the world. There is a transformation happening in your spirit right now, a slow turning of the tide. You can feel the strength returning to your bones. You can feel the fog lifting from your mind. The hidden attacks are losing their power because they rely on you being unaware. But now you are aware. You know where your refuge is. You know who your commander is. You know that the angels have been given their orders concerning you. You can walk into tomorrow with your head held high. Not because you're confident in your own strength, but because you're confident in the one who is your shield and your buckler. The lion may roar, but you know the Lion of Judah, and his roar is louder. The cobra may hiss, but you know the one who crushed the serpent's head. The conversation doesn't end here. It's just beginning. Every day is a new opportunity to dwell. Every morning is a new chance to say, "He is my refuge and my fortress." As the world gets louder and more chaotic, your secret place will become more and more precious. It will become the well you drink from when the earth is parched. It will become the map you follow when the signs are all pointing in the wrong direction. You are being invited into a level of spiritual maturity where you aren't shaken by the headlines, because you are grounded in the hem of his garment. And in that place, there is a satisfaction that no long life on its own can give. It's the satisfaction of being truly, deeply, and eternally safe. And yet, even in that safety, there's a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from trying to be the one who holds it all together for everyone else. You know the feeling. It's that quiet, heavy weight on your shoulders as you walk through the grocery store, checking prices, calculating every cent, while trying to keep a brave face for the kids who have no idea how close you are to the edge. You're the pillar. You're the one everyone calls when their world is falling apart. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, you wonder who you're supposed to call when your own foundation starts to crack. This is where the hidden attack of self-reliance starts to seep in. It's a subtle snare that whispers that if you stop for even a second, if you let your guard down, everything will come crashing down. It's a lie that makes you forget that the shield isn't something you have to hold up with your own trembling hands. The shield is actually holding you. I was thinking about a woman I met who had spent 20 years being the prayer warrior for her family. She had seen miracles, she had seen breakthroughs, But then she hit a season of such profound silence from heaven that she started to doubt if she had ever heard God's voice at all. She told me, "I feel like I'm performing a role in a play where the audience has already gone home." That's the pestilence of the soul, the feeling that your faith is just a costume you put on. She was facing a situation with her adult son that was breaking her heart, a situation she couldn't fix with a conversation or a checkbook. She was at a total loss. And it was in that moment of absolute bone-deep powerlessness that she realized she had been trying to be her own Most High. She had been trying to be the fortress instead of dwelling in the one that was already built. There's a transformation that happens when you finally stop trying to manage God's reputation and just let yourself be a tired child in His arms. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe you're tired of pretending that the news doesn't scare you, or that your health isn't a constant nagging worry in the back of your mind. If you're ready to just drop the act and let the Almighty take the lead for once, I want you to just type a simple Amen in the comments. It's not for me. It's just a way for you to tell your own soul that you're done carrying the weight of the world. Because when you do that, something incredible happens. The arrows don't stop flying. The world is still a messy, complicated place, but your internal response changes. You start to develop this strange, almost stubborn peace. It's the kind of peace that makes people look at you and wonder if you've lost touch with reality. But the truth is, you've finally found a reality that is more solid than the one they can see. Think about the way we react when we feel a spiritual attack coming on. Usually, we tense up. We pray harder. We fast more. We try to earn our protection through effort. But Psalm 91 invites us into a resting warfare. It's the paradox of the kingdom. You win the battle by staying seated in a secret place. I remember a time in my own life where every door seemed to be slamming shut at once. I was losing sleep. My hair was starting to thin from the stress, and I felt like I was being hunted by my own mistakes. I kept asking, "Where is the shield? Where are the angels?" And then I realized I was running around the battlefield trying to fight with a plastic sword, while the fortress was standing right behind me, the door wide open, waiting for me to just come inside and sit down. We often mistake our activity for authority, but authority comes from knowing whose shadow you're standing in. There is a specific kind of hidden attack that targets your identity through comparison. You scroll through your phone and see people who seem to have shielded lives, perfect families, perfect houses, perfect health, and you start to feel like you've been left out of the promise. You start to think that maybe Psalm 91 is for those people, the ones who have it all together. But the psalm was written for the person in the middle of the terror, the person in the middle of the pestilence. It's a war manual, not a travel brochure. It's meant for the moments when you're bleeding, when you're confused, and when you're not sure if you have enough strength to make it to Friday. It's in those moments of internal breakdown, where the tears are hitting the floor and you can't even find the words to pray, that the pinions start to fold around you. You don't have to be holy to be protected, you just have to be His. I've spent time talking to people who have walked through things that would break most of us. The loss of a child, the betrayal of a lifelong partner, and what they all say is that there comes a point where you stop asking why, and you start asking who. Who is with me in this? Who is holding my hand while I walk through this valley? When you move from the why to the who, the supernatural shield activates in a way you can actually feel. It's like a warmth that starts in your chest and spreads to your fingertips. It's the realization that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a guest in the house of the King. And in that house, the rules are different. The economy is different. The lions can roar all they want, but they can't get past the front gate. Have you ever felt like your thoughts were being hijacked? Like you're playing a movie of every bad thing that could possibly happen on a loop in your head? That's the snare of the enemy. He wants to trap you in a future that hasn't happened yet, so you're too paralyzed to live in the present that God has provided for. The shield of Psalm 91 works as a filter for those thoughts. It lets in the truth and keeps out the what-ifs. It allows you to look at a terrifying situation and say, okay, this is hard, This is painful, but it is not the end of my story. There's a resilience that comes from that perspective, a holy defiance that says to the darkness, you can have my comfort, but you cannot have my joy. You can have my plans, but you cannot have my peace. This kind of transformation doesn't mean you never feel fear again. It means you don't let fear sit in the driver's seat. It's like being in a storm, but knowing your house was built by a master craftsman. You hear the wind, you see the lightning, but you don't pack your bags to leave. You stay put. You dwell. And as you dwell, you start to notice the small, everyday miracles that you used to miss because you were too busy trying to protect yourself. You notice the way the light hits the trees in the morning. You notice the unexpected kindness of a stranger. You notice that despite everything you've been through, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still hoping. That in itself is a supernatural victory. It's a sign that the shield is working, even when you can't see the sparks from the arrows hitting it. We live in a world that is obsessed with safety, but it's a fragile, earthly kind of safety that can be taken away by a single phone call or a market crash. The safety offered in the secret place is different. It's an unshakable safety. It's the kind of security that allows you to be generous when you're lacking, to be kind when you're being attacked, and to be brave when everyone else is running for cover. It changes your very DNA. You start to carry yourself differently. Your voice gets steadier. Your heart gets softer, even as your spirit gets tougher. You realize that the hidden attacks of this year were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to drive you deeper into the one place where you are truly untouchable. Imagine for a moment that you could see into the spiritual realm right now. Imagine seeing the legions of angels that have been assigned to your specific household. They aren't just standing around. They are actively working, moving obstacles you didn't know were there, silencing voices that were speaking against you in rooms you've never entered. When the psalm says he shall give his angels charge over you, it's a military order. It's not a suggestion. It means that the resources of heaven are being deployed for your benefit, not because you've earned a VIP pass, but because you've known his name. Knowing his name means knowing his character. It means knowing that he is a father who doesn't abandon his children in the dark. It means knowing that his truth isn't just a set of facts, but a person who is standing right beside you.
My child, before you go, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell icon, and comment if you believe I am guiding your life. May blessings follow you today.